Good afternoon, ladies.
Good afternoon.
I'm so glad that you are working with us in this group. I'm parenting the adolescent. It's a challenge, I know, working with young people, but I believe that if we work together, we'll come up with some really good tools to help you with this process. Before we get started, I want to go around and I want you to tell me your name and something interesting about yourself that probably no one would imagine. Like for me, my name is Janet, and I do not like watermelon. I don't. I know, but I don't like watermelon. I'm gonna go this way. Tell us your name and something about you.
Hi everyone, my name is Imani, and something about me. I'm addicted to chapstick.
To chapstick?
Chapstick.
Okay.
Like I'm itching right now because I don't have it with me.
Okay.
And I need
Okay.
to put some on. That's something interesting.
Okay.
Well, my name is Fanny, and something that probably no one would know about me.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, sweetie.
Something that no one would probably know about me is I teach karate.
You teach wow.
Wow.
So you must be like one of those people that they call our lethal weapon.
Yeah, I don't have a license.
So much I bet you.
That's all. No, we don't want to do that. We thank you so much. Okay, and let's come right over here.
Hello. My name is Imari, and something that people don't know about me is that I had polio when I was a child and I almost died.
Oh my. How old were you?
I was like 7 years old.
Okay. And that must have been a challenging time.
It was challenging, but my family, they did a lot to help me out and make the hospital visits fun, so it wasn't,
Oh, good. Okay.
Well, my name is Deanna, and I know 3 other languages outside of English.
Wow, what are they?
I know German, French, and Spanish.
Wow. Okay, now how did that come about?
Well, my family and I are from Germany, and also we learned French in school, and we also moved to Florida, which we learned Spanish as well, because it was very helpful.
Right. Since you have a lot of Spanish community down in Florida. Okay. Well, thank you all for sharing. This has really been helpful. We've learned some really interesting things. I want to talk to you some about what we're going to be doing here in our session. This is a support group for parenting the adolescent, as you know. And my role actually is just a facilitator. But it's your group. And it's important for me that you feel vested in this process. I don't have all the answers, but it's my goal to help you with whatever the issues are that you're facing in parenting your adolescent child. From time to time, if one of us becomes, excited and talking, I may have to interrupt, and I'll do it gently. And sometimes what you'll see me doing is, even though you may be talking, Deanna, I may be looking this way because I want to see how she's feeling about what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that I'm not paying attention, but I will do a scan of the room from time to time. The other thing that I want you to know is that I need you to engage. So it's important for you to feel comfortable here, and that you can share whatever's happening in your life with your child at this time. One of the things that we need to do in order for that to happen, though, I think, is we need to have some guidelines. I don't like to call them rules because we're adults, but some guidelines that will help us in our process. So what are some things that are important for you in a group, for you to feel comfortable?
I think it's very important to make sure that we are confidential, have confidentiality, and just not sharing what we share in the group outside of things.
Okay, confidentiality, that's good. Amari?
I think it would be important for everyone to respect one another, don't overtalk someone when they're talking, to actively listen to what everyone is saying,
Okay.
try to be understanding.
Okay. All right, confidentiality, showing respect.
For me, I think that keeping an open mind and an understanding.
Keeping it open mind.
Understanding everyone,
That's
even though
good.
you may not agree.
That's good. That's good. How about you?
I pretty much agree with what everyone has said so far. I think they're all very important.
Okay. Have an open mind, Being confidential, showing respect. Okay. What are some things that you want to see happen, or what are some things that you want to be able to gain from being a part of this school?
Well, for me, I want to understand that, you know, my child is a child and she wants to do certain things, but I also don't want to give her too much freedom.
Okay, so you don't want, you want to recognize where she is as a child, but you also want to have some control.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Amari?
To be honest, I just want to have better communication with my child. I feel like every time I want to try and sit down and talk about the things that's going on with him, it seems like he just shuts me out.
Better communication, okay. Deanna?
I think just having a positive environment for my my daughter, just because she has a lot of issues with self-esteem and just
Okay.
growing up in, you know, sometimes kids are very cruel, so.
Now that is true. That is true. There's a lot of cruelty. Okay. Amari?
I want to learn how to be more understanding
Okay.
and to have better communication, like Imari said, and to just know how to better handle certain situations that, you know, happen with my children.
Okay, all right. All right, so I think I think those are all good goals, and I think that we're gonna be able to do that. I wanna start by giving you an exercise. I want you to look at, I'm gonna give you a piece of paper and a pen. You take one, pass those around. Excuse me, sweet, we wanna keep our hands to ourselves, we don't want to.
Bad. I was just trying to tell her she has something on her shoes.
She has something on her shoe, okay.
I was dusted it off for her.
No, sweet, we don't want to do that. We want, you take one of those, pass it around for me. There you go.
I feel like she was trying to tell you that you're a little dusty. But
Oh, no, we're not gonna, no,
you should.
I think that it's okay. I think we're fine. Take a piece of paper and pass that. Okay. So, what I want you to do, I want you to write something that happened to you when you were an adolescent. Write an experience that you had as an adolescent that was challenging for you. Okay, and then when you finish writing, I want you to turn to the person next to you and share with them what you've written.
When we had recess in school, I get picked class all the time. So we both have our phones, yeah.
I was too. Especially like I always want to call football. I was calling she'll never choose me. Like you're so short and skinny. How you going? But for me, when I first got my parents, like so everywhere. I was so scared to go to school. I was sick.
I can't believe your parents said that to you.
I would never. I had real symptoms,
But
I did it just so I wouldn't have to go to school.
I was shocked and I was teased almost every day, especially in middle school, because this guy liked me, and all the girls in the class wanted to be with him, but I didn't want to be with them, and they found me. Well, now I know they were jealous. Yeah. So
Okay, so now, let's come back, and I want you to share With the group, what you've written about your experience, I want to start with Femi. Would you tell us what you wrote?
Well, like I was telling Imani, I was overweight when I was younger, and they had a nickname for me. And you guys don't laugh. It's really sensitive, but
We're not going to laugh. We're not going to laugh because we're going to be respectful.
well, it was chubby cakes.
Chubby cakes.
Yeah, chubby cakes.
That must have been challenging.
Yeah, I was very chubby, and even when I told my parents about it, they said, just lose the weight, and everything will be fine. And so I did my best.
Did that help you? What they,
no.
I'm saying what they said to you, their response to you, was that helpful?
No, I didn't. It wasn't the support that I needed from them. It didn't make me feel good.
And so when you think about their response to you and what you're going through with your child now, tell me something that's happening with your child now that's challenging for you.
Well, now that I think about it, she's also, sad all the time, saying that she doesn't have female or friends because she's always teased. And now I see, I understand. I would do the same thing, and she just needs reassurance because that's what I needed.
You need it. All right, let's come over to Mari.
Okay. The experience that I wrote down was when I first, hit puberty, and I had pimples like all over my face. They were red, they were bright, they were shiny, and I was so afraid of being teased and going to school that I faked sick for a week.
Oh my goodness.
So I didn't go to school. I didn't want to face my peers. I didn't want anybody pointing at them. I didn't want them to see it.
Did they have Proactive back then?
We're gonna let her finish. Go ahead, sweetheart.
But yeah, I guess I was just so caught up on what everybody thought of me. I didn't want anybody to see me in that state. So.
And what happened when you talked with your parents? Did you share that with your parents?
I didn't exactly tell them because if I told them that I was faking sick, I would have gotten in trouble. But when I did go to them about possibly getting something from my face, they told me that, it's something natural that adolescents go through.
This is wrong.
Okay, remember now, we're not going to judge. We're not going to judge.
They were telling me it's something natural that all adolescents go through, and that at some point they would all just go away and smooth out.
How did that make you feel? Was that helpful for you?
At the time, no, because I wanted it to be gone then.
Okay.
But as I did kind of mature a little bit and get older, and I did see it growing away, I understood what they were trying to say.
And so what challenge are you having right now with your adolescent?
My son, he likes this girl. And I guess this crush of his, he finds it to be so serious. He feels the need to go overboard and do the most. He wants to be that cool, macho, bad boy. And so he's gotten into a lot of trouble. He's just doing a lot of stuff, and I don't really know how to approach him about it.
So as you think about what you wanted from your parents when you were going through your situation, can you kind of sympathize with the fact that he may not be able to express what he's going through, and it may be hard for him to manage his feelings?
Now that I think about it, I did have a similar experience with this guy that I thought I was in love with.
Okay.
Now that I think about it, I did a lot of crazy things for him, and
Okay.
bad.
Okay. Deanna, what did you write?
My experience was I would get picked last when we played kickball, like for recess. I would always get picked last, and I always remembered having hurt feelings about it.
Okay. And did you talk to your parents about that?
I did, because it would just really make me upset that I get picked on all the time, and no one really would regard me and trying to make me befriend me at school and me feeling a part of the class and all that. So.
And what was your parents' response?
They kind of didn't really give much. Just telling me the advice they gave me was just basically just be friendly as much as you can, and just to just compliment people and help and just be a friend. Basically, was what they told me to do.
Okay.
Was that helpful?
And I had a couple friends, but it still felt like not very natural. Like I didn't really have
And what experience are you having now with your child?
Well, my daughter, she does have a lot of issues with feeling like part of her class and just feeling like she's an outsider. And she, has lots of pimples and she wears really big glasses. And so the kids tease her a lot. So I do tell her just to kind of, just not to listen to what they're saying and try to tell her that she's beautiful, but I don't know really what to tell her anymore besides that because I didn't really have that much work when I was younger either.
So we're going to talk about that because that seems to be a common thread. That seems to be with our children in terms of them being accepted, just like with your son. And sweetheart, tell me about yours. What did you write?
Well, in middle school, I used to get teased all the time. I even got jumped because this one guy in my class that everybody liked, he liked me. Even though I didn't like him back, the girls were all jealous. Back then, I didn't know that it was jealousy. I just took it as, everybody being against me. And so they would all talk about me. And I think I got jumped at one time. That's when I really, got depressed and was upset. That was the major thing that happened.
And what did you say to your parents? Did you talk to
I
them about
told my parents, and they pretty much just told me to, stay to myself.
it? Oh, okay.
And, I would stay out of trouble if I just stayed to myself.
Okay.
So,
And was that helpful for you?
no, because I stayed to myself from the get-go, and it didn't really, change anything. So,
Okay. Well, now, listening to what each of you have said, if you were going to, and I'm sorry, what challenge are you having with your child?
I have 4 kids,
Okay.
and there's 1 boy, and he's the youngest. And I have more issues with all of my children.
Okay.
But he is having the most issues in his life right now. He's just he's about to enter high school.
Okay.
And he has issues with his image and knowing how to relate to other guys because, I'm a single mother and so he's only surrounded by me and his sister, so he can relate a lot more to us. And so at school and in other places, they see him more on the feminine side. And he doesn't really know how to relate to the guys because there just has not been one. And so I don't really know how to handle that, how to change that because I'm not, I don't know how to take the place of a man in my life.
Okay. Well, now, I want you to remember something as we're talking, that when you were going through adolescence, you remember that it was a frightening time. I mean, your body's changing, all of a sudden you notice the opposite sex and they become attractive, and you don't know how to manage that and you don't know how to handle that. And there's nobody, I wish there was a manual on parenting, the adolescent, but there's not. And so when you reflect on what it was for you, that sometimes helps us to be a little more patient with our children as we're going through things with them right now. So here's the other thing that I want you to do now. Turn the paper over. And as we think about our children, I want you to write at least 3 things that are positive about your child.
Like right now in their current state.
Yeah.
It might be a little hard.
Well, now, it may be challenging, but I think we can, let's see if we can find at least 3 things that are positive.
3 things.
Three
Okay,
things.
but I agree with
You agree with that? Okay.
Can't even think of one yet.
Well, that's okay. Let's try and see if we can come up with a couple of things that we think are positive. Got 3 things there? Okay.
Tried.
Okay.
I'm getting there.
You getting there? Okay. Okay. serious writing going on. That's good. I'm encouraged. Now, you know, what I should have said at the very beginning was that our sessions are weekly for the next 6 weeks, and they're an hour long. And we've got about another 10 minutes left in this session, so I kind of want to give us a heads up that we're going to be closing soon. But what I want you to do is take what you've written and share it with the person next to you. And let's take a few minutes to do that.
Well, my daughter is very, very helpful. Like when she sees somebody in need, she's usually very prompt about helping them. She's an only person like going past the street. She'll make sure they get across the street, safely.
She always tries to make the best.
She plays the piano very well, and she also is a great cook.
My son,
Kids stick up for their family.
he always takes out the trash. He doesn't really like clean too much,
So I always don't sit and
but
vice
I hate
versa.
taking out the
They
trash.
don't
He
let
doesn't
anyone
something
pick
he's
on
learned over the years.
each other.
He knows that, so he'll always take it out for me even when he's upset with me.
Then my son
Something
is
else
very
is he's
clean.
very chivalrous.
I
Like,
really
not even
appreciate
just towards
that.
me, like towards other
And
women
they
that
do
he
well on
loses
school.
contact with.
It settles no matter what.
Encouraging me to meet and my son just knows how to act and treat the opposite sex. And the other thing is he has future goals and he's actually trying to attain those.
That's really big.
Okay. So let's hear some positive things. Can you, Imari, share with Femi?
As I was telling Deanne over here, a couple things my son does that, you know, it's kind of consistent for him is he always takes out the trash. He knows that I hate taking out the trash. I hate the smell of it, the look of it, all of it. And so he'll do it even when he's upset with me. He's always chivalrous, not just towards me, but towards other women, females that he comes in contact with. And he has a lot of future goals, and he's actually trying to, you know, put things in place so that he can accomplish them, you know, somewhere in the near future. Those are 3 things I think.
That sounds good. And so when we look at that in terms of what he's doing, as opposed to the problems that he's getting into, can we kind of maybe give him his props and say, okay, yes, you know, he's having some challenges, but there are some good things that he's doing, right? Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, for me, I put my daughter that she's respectful. She's very respectful to me. She may not notice, but she may not notice that I notice that she always tries to make me happy in anything that she does. And another thing that she does that I love about her is she always tries to make the best out of any situation. Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. And Deanna, you've been really quiet. Tell me what you've got.
Well, my daughter, she's very helpful. So she, you know, when she sees someone in need, she'll usually help them. Like she's very prompt about helping them right away. She plays the piano very well, and she also is a very good cook. So she likes to cook for the family.
Okay. Okay. And yes, ma'am.
I realize my kids do have some, you know.
Oh, good.
They pretty much, they stick up for their family no matter what.
Okay.
If anyone's talking down about their mom or one of their siblings, they are quick to, you know, no matter if they're angry with me or each other, they stick up for each other. And my son is very clean for a boy, very clean. So even if my girls are not cleaning, he's going to clean. And so, you know, that's awesome. And they do well in their schoolwork, no matter, you know, what's going on at home or what they're going through at school, they still excel.
So now let's talk for a minute about some of the challenges that we're having with our kids. Somebody said that they're acting out in school. What are some of the things that they are doing that are frustrating?
Skipping class.
Skipping class.
My daughter, she'll lock herself in her room and not talk to me. And she'll
Okay.
just sit up.
Okay.
My son is getting into a lot of fights recently, trying to, you know, stick up for his manhood and all that stuff.
So you're spending time at school. Okay.
Well, my daughter, she just kind of has an issue with not expressing herself and how she's feeling and like what's actually
She's a
going
little bit
on.
withdrawn.
Yeah.
Okay. And what they're going through, what is your initial response to what they're doing? How do you respond to that when they're acting out in school?
To be honest, and maybe I'm going about it the wrong way, usually because I'm very upset, I don't want to say attack him. I don't want to say attack him, but I do, in a sense, kind of place a firm hand in the situation and tell him, spanking. I think we moved out of that phase, so I don't really spank him much anymore. I don't really spank him much anymore. I think we argue. I'll say that.
I
And we
have
kind
a
of go back
question.
and forth.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you believe that we should be spanking or not spanking our children?
I think that spanking is appropriate based on the age. And so, you know, age level, particularly for younger children, studies have shown that discipline does not always work the same for every child. So, like, there's some children that if you spank them, they just get worse. And there's some children that if you punish them, you say, okay, you can't talk on the phone, then that's effective. So, you know, but I think by a certain age, studies have shown that spanking children is not helpful. It becomes abusive after a point. And so what I hear you saying is that you're not spanking. You are
Trying to talk it out.
trying to talk it out.
But
Okay.
it's more argumentative than anything.
And when you are arguing, do you seem to be getting through to him, or does it seem to be like you're fussing and he's still acting up when it's all said and done?
I'm fussing and he's still acting up like he doesn't even care.
What would you all say to her to encourage her? What do you think are some things that would be helpful for her?
I would first find out, just to let him know that this is serious and this is a problem that he needs to stop, whether he wants to talk about it or not, but he has to stop the behavior, to start noticing some of the things that he actually loves. And instead of having the conversation, just take it away and see how he reacts. He can't keep, if you're slowly taking, or just taking everything away that he adores. Maybe he plays the PS3, just take it, or anything like that. I don't know. I think that might work. It might show him, you're pretty serious.
Okay, and for yours that stays in her room, how would you all help her reach her child who's staying in her room? Deanna, what do you think?
I think maybe finding some type of happy medium where she, some things that she likes, maybe like taking her out, things that are not necessarily costing money, but just kind of like having like fun days or whatever, so you can like kind of get her in a neutral environment so she can like talk a little bit more about what's going on.
Okay, and for hers, is skipping class? Who's skipping class?
Fighting.
Fighting. Oh, the fighting. What would you say to her? How would you help her with that?
Well, you said he fights because he wants to improve his manliness. Well, I guess you can have him do other things, going out to, I don't know exactly what guys do, to golf, gun range,
Basketball.
basketball, yeah,
Game
play
station,
basketball.
you can get a
Or
game
you
station.
can tell him, I think I know your man. I think you're a man. You don't have to fight to prove that. And then just let him know. You're the man of mine.
That's great. That's great. That's great. That's great. And again, our time is winding up, and so before we close, I just want to share a couple things. But I want to get a feel: are there some things that are really bothering you that you came with today that you just really want to make sure we talk about next time? Anything that's kind of pressing for you, and we will make sure we write that down. Yes, ma'am.
For me, I guess I want a better way to communicate to my son instead of just, yelling at him when
Okay.
I find out that the teacher, or when the teacher calls me and said he didn't come to class or he's not doing his homework, or he said something rude to her. I don't want to just automatically attack him.
Okay, so we're gonna look at ways of communicating without attacking in our next session. Anything else that anybody this is really stressful for you, and you really want to make sure that we look at it next time?
What Mari said, just,
Okay, communication.
yeah, communication. Because I try to talk to her when she likes to say something and it doesn't always.
think anger, even though this isn't really about anger, but anger management when it comes to, you know, dealing with our kids when we hear what is going on before we go and maybe attack them or,
Okay.
you know, go off on them, assess just how to handle that initial anger.
And have you noticed that there's a common thread with our children? There's some things that may be a product of that stage in their life, but the self-esteem, the wanting to fit in, those are things that they have in common. And the thing that I want us to remember is that we went through that period, right?
Yeah.
Now, maybe we didn't survive it the way we wanted to, but the reality of it is that you are where you are today, and there is help in terms of now, you know, back when we were, you know, when our parents were bringing us up, there was a lot of hush hush about problems with kids. Nobody wanted to admit that there were problems with their children, but today, you know, you have this kind of environment that allows you a place to vent and a place to kind of brainstorm and work through some things. I have an article, and I'm going to make copies of it for the next time. There's a doctor named Marlene Moretti, and she's written an article called The Adolescent Parent Attachment, Bonds That Support Healthy Development. And one of the things that she says is adolescents need the same kind of bonding environment that babies do. And you know that there are studies that show that when a baby's born, the first thing that the baby needs to do is to bond with the mother, right? And babies that don't bond have all kinds of emotional issues. Some of them even have physical impairments when they don't have the opportunity to bond. Well, one of the things that she says, and I just want to share this with you really quickly, and then we're going to close. She says, in a nutshell, research shows that attachment security in adolescence exerts precisely the same effect on development as it does in early childhood. So the child that does not bond, the adolescent that's not able to bond with the parent, is still going to have problems with drinking, drug use, risky sexual behavior. Because what happens is children need to still feel secure, even though they don't want to admit that they need security. They need you, only in a different way. And so one of the things we're going to talk about in our next session is how to create bonding with a teenager who doesn't want you to hug him anymore because now they're, don't kiss me in public, don't hug me. But they still need to feel that closeness and attachment that they did as babies. Okay, so those are a couple of things, along with dealing with communication and anger management. We're going to talk about attachment, bonding, and how to create an environment where your adolescent feels it's a safe place. Because really what would have been helpful with the weight loss, rather than maybe, because I went through the same thing with my parents. I was a little chunky, and what my parents said to me was, well, people are coming over, you stay over there. Yes, and eventually I figured out, that I was not acceptable in public. I was not as pretty as my sisters or as handsome as my brothers. And so what it did for me was it's not that my parents didn't love me; they just didn't know how to help me. And so it took me a minute to kind of navigate through that process. And so, with our children now, particularly when we think about what we went through and what we wanted from our parents, sometimes it's helpful for us to be able to put ourselves in their shoes and say, okay, how did it feel for me when I had a boy that I was interested in, but I didn't know what to say or what to do? You know what I'm saying? Those are things that may be helpful for us. And so this week, what I want you to do is log the moments when you feel the tension rising in you and you want to say something. Log down what that is and log down what might be a positive response to that. How about that? Do you think that's something we could do? And when we meet back next week, we'll look at that, and I'll bring some information on anger management. But I'd like you all to also be able to research what you're thinking in terms of what your specific child is going through you know, the being away from people and being by themselves and not being accepted and you know, the other thing that may be helpful, which we haven't talked about for her son, maybe a mentor. Big Brothers, you know, there are organizations that will sometimes kind of help us with what we're going through. So maybe those are some things that we can also talk about. Okay? So how do you all feel about our session today? Was
It was wonderful.
it helpful?
I learned a lot.
Okay. And so next week, we will see everybody at the same time.
Yes.
Okay? Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.